Muy buenas, tropa, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? ¿Cuánto tiempo, eh? La verdad es que ha pasado un montón, una cosa loca. Bueno, voy a colocarme esto un poquito por aquí más cómodo. Perdón, vamos a ir cogiendo de aquí lo que toca. Uf, si arranco el juego ya, igual, igual, hasta hacemos algo, ¿eh? Fíjate lo que te digo, que igual si arranco el juego, hasta jugamos algo. Sí, como locurón, así, una cosa que no habréis visto nunca. Venga, a ver, eso que se ponga en pausa si quiere. Pum, pum. Aquí estamos. Muy bien. Pues nada. Aquí estoy yo con mi cafecito con espuma. ¡Ah! ¡Qué rico! Voy a contestar un momento que me han escrito algo por Telegram. Por cierto, he dejado ahí... Bueno, abajo en el perfil del canal tenéis un montón de enlaces. Estoy intentando actualizar para meter todo en un Linktree, ¿vale? Que es un enlace a una página que se llama Linktree, en la que puedo poner enlaces a todas mis mierdas. Y no sé por qué no lo he conseguido antes del directo. Entonces, bueno, por eso empezó un poquito más tarde. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué me estáis contando? En fin, voy a hacer un poco de spam. Y así hacemos un poco de tiempo a que venga la gente antes de arrancar el juego. Entonces, ¿se ha quedado parado en la pantalla de carga? Ahora, vale. ¿Soy yo el juego? No soy yo el juego. En fin, ahora sí, ¿no? Sí, ahora sí. Vale, se me han olvidado las gafas. Pero bueno, como ayer subí un poco el tamaño de letra, a ver si así está un poco más mejor. Hola, Jos. Muy buenas, hombre. Segundo día aquí. ¿Qué tal? Vamos a ver. Ayer estuvimos jugando los tres primeros episodios y vamos a empezar a jugar hoy el cuarto, ¿de acuerdo? La cuarta parte. Son cinco, así que no creo que nos quede mucho del juego, quedará como una hora, hora y media, suponiendo que sean algo más largos que los anteriores y que no haya nada raro. Esta es nuestra mochila y está... Ah, y nosotros también estamos en el maletero. Pues cojonudo, ¿no? Vamos a llamar al número este, sí. No me deja hacer nada más. Uy, perdón. Un segundo. Me he puesto a jugar ahí a lo loco. Ay, qué desastrillo. A ver, es este con esto. Vale, quito el overlay porque si no, no se van a leer los rótulos y el juego sobre todo es de ver de qué va la historia. O sea, además, con lo raro que es, la traducción no es que esté muy allá, pero bueno, algo ayuda.
Hello. Copernicus? Is that you?
Teléfono de Verne estaba en las cerillas que cogimos en el coche de Verne. Qué cosa más absurda.
Let me guess. You've gotten yourself into some kind of jam.
Algo
Swinging
así.
by your toes over a tiger cage?
Mm, lo único es que este es una materia... Sí quiero que es más
Locked in
gráfico.
a trunk?
Sí.
That doesn't sound like part of your dream. How'd you
No.
manage that?
Fui encerrado por un hombre con muchos ojos. Pues
I
mismamente.
sincerely doubt that. The fact that I'm hearing your voice now suggests otherwise.
Aunque él la atrapó, necesito rescatarla. Muy buenas, Animal. De cualquier forma, porque está buscando atraparme.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
Sí,
You've
me
sworn to
avisaste.
deceive me, Vern. I'm going to feed the birds now. I want to know the truth. Look where that got you.
Muy bien, vale. Pero échame una
Speaking of
mano.
which, did you find the box, Copernicus?
Sí, tengo la caja. Sí.
Have you opened it yet?
No tengo la llave.
Figure out a way to open that box, Copernicus. Inside, you'll find out who you really are.
¡Que no tengo la llave! Y estoy en un maletero. ¿Cómo coño voy a encontrar aquí la llave? Vamos a ver. ¿Me ayudará en algo si encuentro el hombre con muchos ojos?
Don't
A lo
mess with
mejor.
him, kid. He's the final gatekeeper. Way too strong.
The
You need to
gatekeeper.
learn the spell first before you can go up against him.
¿Os acordáis del juego de mesa este de tablero que había que era de yo soy el gatekeeper? ¿Cómo molaba aquello? No llegué a jugar nunca, pero el anuncio molaba un huevo con el DVD interactivo, el VHS interactivo, me imagino al principio. ¿Qué hechizo? ¿Qué hechizo?
Hey, if I knew it, I'd tell you. But let's start by getting you out of that box.
Eso digo yo.
Lucky for you, I've got my farmer's almanac here. Let's have a look. Hang on.
Rol, era un juego de mesa, sí era parecido a un juego de rol. Pasa que había como el director de juego era el...
Car trunk.
Ahí. El director de
First thing
juego...
you should do is reach around for the latch. Sounds kind of obvious.
Claro.
Okay, next step. See if you can scare up the brake lights. Can you find them? It's a little gizmo with some wires.
Vale. Era como un juego de mesa. Sí era parecido a jugar al Dungeons and Dragons, una cosa así. Con la diferencia de que creo que el director de juego era el vídeo que estaba grabado en VHS o en DVD. Ya te digo que yo no lo llegué a jugar nunca, pero el anuncio molaba mucho porque salía un bicho ahí muy feo en la televisión que te decía, yo soy el gatekeeper. ¿Estás preparado para no sé qué? Y el anuncio estaba chulo. El anuncio estaba chulo en los 80 o a principios de los 90, que es cuando existió el juego ese.
Okay. Yank on the wires and try to pull the lights into the trunk with you.
VHS, ¿ves? Yo creo que luego sacaron una versión más moderna que ya venía en DVD, unos años después. Venga, tiramos de los cables.
Got 'em?
¡Dios!
What color are the lights?
Pues son rojas.
We need a green light, kid. A steady green light. That's the way forward. Gotta run now. Good luck to you, kid.
Pero ¿cómo eres tan cabrón? Ah, bien. Un puzzle. Vale, aquí necesitamos... Supongo que estos son estos dos, estos serán estos dos y estos serán estos dos. Esto no hay que apretarlo. Negativo y positivo. Hostia, ya estamos con los cables y los fusibles. Por Dios. Ahora necesitaría Pilar. Bueno, no la necesitaría. O sea, Pilar gozaría en este momento. Otra vez ya con cables. A ver. Un verde... Ah, que no sea ni verde ni... Vale, aquí tiene que ser un negativo, el que sea. Aquí un positivo y aquí uno de círculo. Pues el único que con círculo es este tiene que venir aquí. Aquí. Vale, ahora lo he entendido lo que tengo que hacer. Ahora lo he entendido. Vale, aquí tengo que poner un positivo y aquí un negativo. Y aquí tengo que poner uno que no sea ni verde ni circular. Como solo hay un verde, pues el único verde... Ah, no. Como solo hay un verde, pues el único verde donde me dicen que no necesitan un verde. Bien. Aquí no puede ir un positivo, así que no puede venir el verde. Si no puede ser rosa, tiene que ser un azul. Azul hay un negativo y un positivo, pues tiene que ser el azul negativo aquí. Venga, correcto. Positivos nos quedan dos, que pueden venir aquí o aquí. No, perdón. Sí, nos pueden venir aquí, aquí o aquí. Cualquiera de los tres. Me estoy liando yo solo, ¿eh? Bueno, negativos también me queda... No, negativos me queda solo uno, que es el rosa. Así que este rosa tiene que venir aquí. Vale. Y ahora... aquí no puede venir ni verde ni neutro. Podría ser cualquiera de los dos. Aquí no puede venir ni verde ni rosa, pues aquí tiene que venir el azul por Webers. Aquí tiene que venir un positivo, que puede ser cualquiera de los dos. Maravilloso. Aquí no puede ser el verde, pues aquí el rosa. Y el verde aquí. Es más complicado esto que lo de la mongas, ¿eh? Pelín. Pelín más complicado. Luz verde, fija. Ya estamos. Se parece a mí. Tiene la cara como mal montada sobre el cuello, ¿no? Hay una rayita ahí, no sé si lo veis, pero así como por el borde de la oreja y por aquí. ¿Cómo fue que terminé en tu maletero?
ما أدري شو تسوي بسيارتي بس من خبرتي بهذا المكان
Habibi, que no hablo tu
راح
idioma.
أتسح بعدين.
Habibi, habla mi idioma. ¿En inglés?
إنجليش. آسف. ما أدري هاي مو صدق. بس أنا أشعر بيه.
Taza Chile,
كان
sí.
من صدق حجة سعر. كل شيء هنا إلها دلالة رمزية.
Aquí tenemos pocos seguidores, pero de calidad.
القرن على الدشبول.
No, no, tú
هسه حتى لو أحد إيدي من الستيرن.
cuéntame lo que quieras,
السيارة
Habibi.
من كيف تمشي عدل.
Claro que sí.
بس من أقوم
Así yo miro mientras por aquí.
أشوف إنه هذا جن هلم. هسه شنو اللي تغير؟
Sí, hombre.
وإذا هاي كله إشارات شنو معنى ماله؟ أدري هاي مو صدق. بس أنا أشعر به. كان من صدق حجة سعر. كل شيء هنا
Claro.
إلها دلالة رمزية. الستيرن، الجير ولا القرن على الدشبول. هسه حتى لو أحد إيدي من الستيرن. السيارة
Claro.
كيف تمشي عدل.
Que yo veré.
بس من أقوم
Le corto ya, ¿no?
أشوف إنه هذا جن هلم. هسه شنو اللي تغير؟
Oye, que le he dado para...
وإذا هاي كله إشارات
Le he dado para que deje de
شنو
hablar. Que te
معنى
calles.
ماله؟ أدري هاي مو صدق. بس أنا أشعر به.
Madre que le parió.
كان من صدق.
¿No lo puedo atizar con la caja o algo? No sé. Esta tarjeta ayer no era negra. Ahora porque es color dorado. Vale, sigue teniendo lo mismo anotado detrás. Y el resto que lo seguimos teniendo todo. Aquí nos faltan dos números. El último yo diría que es un 2. Pues se llega a medio intuir.
حجة سعر. إيه معود على كيفك.
Joder.
أريد أوقف.
Se la ve acabar dando, sí, sí. ¿Ya? Madre mía, ahora con la musiquita. Despierta. Traduce las palabras del conductor. ¿Cómo, con qué? ¿Con qué coño traduzco nada? Ah, vale. Se parece a la tormenta de Brassans, ¿no? Y no hay ningún botón, aparte del botón de volumen y este, no hay ningún otro. Porque yo lo sigo oyendo en árabe. No sé si será francés. Ah, vale, vale, vale. Esto es francés, vale. Entonces en algún sitio tiene que estar cantando en inglés. ¿Esto parece ruso? Es aquí, ¿no? Sí. Es hacia el 92. Ah, mira, aquí está cantando en español. Hostia, es verdad, vaya tormentorra, ¿no? Que hay. Vale, ¿y cuándo deja de cantar el pesado este? Vale. ¿Cómo? ¿Qué coño quieres? Vamos a ver qué tiene que ser con acento de Cambridge, que ya se le oye. Porque ya lo he traducido. Tío, te quiero dar un puñetazo. Madre de Dios, la turra. Ah, que el volumen también influía. Tócate los huevos. Flipa.
English? No, sorry. I could, of course, back in the real world, but it doesn't seem to have come with me into this place. To me, this sounds like Arabic. I guess it depends on one's perspective. Anyway, as long as you're not going to start shouting at me again, it's an improvement.
Es que me ha secuestrado.
Kidnap you? I don't think my singing is that bad. Man with many eyes.
Yep.
Look, I understand you're ready to point fingers. I feel the same way, watching you appear out of thin air next to me. But honestly, I hardly understand a word that's coming out of your mouth, even now that we're speaking the same language. No idea. I find myself behind the wheel here night after night. And the trunk, that's my dream too. You don't want to know how many hours I've spent in there, trying to shift my legs to keep them from falling asleep. What do you mean? Whose guard? Yours?
Tío, sabes menos que yo.
Now I know you must be an English speaker. The only people in the world convinced that every story revolves around them.
Eso está bien.
Who are you anyway? I'm not sure actually. But here, it's funny. On this highway, everybody calls me Al-Shatir. Never heard of Ibn al-Shatir? A famous astronomer.
Ah, un astrónomo.
I guess you don't learn about him in your schools.
No,
One
no
of
me
the
sonaba.
forefathers of astronomy. In many ways a predecessor to...
¿Copérnicos?
Yes, that's right.
Vale, o sea que no eres otro conductor más, sino que eres otro yo.
Copernicus, Al-Shatir. Two
Joder.
iconoclasts.
Vaya popping de los cables, más guapo.
Who challenged the belief that the sun revolved around the earth. Two dreamers who had the conviction that the unique consciousness is not the only thing in the center of the universe. Maybe you're not just part of my story, like I'm not part of yours. You were trapped in the trunk, where I've been many times. It's like you've wandered into my dream, and I've wandered into yours.
Sí, algo así.
How should I know? Somehow the streams have crossed. Disturbance in space-time continuum.
Vas un poco por encima del límite, me acabo de dar cuenta.
Me? Yes, safety. A place far away from wars. From bombings. From the cockroaches that crawl out as soon as the dust settles. On the news, you hear only about armies and religious madmen. But it's the gangsters that drove me away. They're the ones who did this to me. The El Mahdi army. They called themselves an army anyway.
Pero de
They
Almadí
were
existe
looking
la
for my
realidad.
brother-in-law because he worked as a translator for the US military. Neighbors warned us we should move, and so we did, twice.
Vaya tino.
Luckily, no. He was safe with the army, beyond their reach. A few years passed and we forgot about the threat. Life had returned to normal, and that's when they came back and picked me up. 2 days later, when I woke up in a Baghdad hospital, I found out that they dumped me off there and told the hospital that I'd hurt myself in a
Se está haciendo de
work
noche.
accident. Yes, after that, I couldn't stay. The women in my family, my mother, my sisters, they were the only ones who knew. I was very close to the women in my family. They were the ones who were around all the times while I was recovering. The men, my father, my brothers, always working, always out of the house. I got on a plane to Istanbul, where my cousin lived. He took me to Izmir, where the smugglers are. They're easy to find. I bought a space on a vessel, headed to Mytilene, Greece, the closest harbor in Europe. Just a simple raft, but not as overcrowded as in some of the stories you hear. I was lucky, at least in the beginning. We couldn't leave for 5 days. Too many Greek army ships in the sea. Every morning, getting up at 3:30 to make a go of it. By the 5th day, I was so tired of waiting that I wasn't even scared to get on board any longer. Finally, impatience had overtaken fear. We did not make it to Europe. A boat pulls up next to us. People are trying to understand what's going on, but the men on the ship only speak Greek. At first, people are worried that it's pirates. They take everything from the passengers. Sometimes take the passengers themselves. Sometimes just ram the boat and laugh as it sinks. But no, these are police, it turns out. They take us back to Turkey, where I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Of course, I did not remember all this in my dreams at first. These were things I remembered from clues I found along the highway. I've dreamed this highway, this car before, many times. Always a long drive, always danger. Sometimes I'm smuggled in the trunk, sometimes I'm driving. Always checkpoints, inspections.
Pica mucho el cuello este, ¿eh?
Betrayal. Always from someone who pretends to be my friend. What is your dream about? A breakup? That's it? Ah, that's more like it. Who has been kidnapped? Who's this person that's been taken away from you? Do you have a photo? Who knows? Maybe I've
Ah, no se ha desencadenado todavía. He querido adelantarme.
seen her somewhere along this highway.
Vale, vale. Ahora ya sí, ¿no?
I know her. The same woman, but with different hair color. I just saw her at the gas station a few miles back.
Ah, esa es la camarera.
A decoy? What kind of game are you playing here? I'd say you're lucky nobody got hurt. Yes, that's right. There was a scene there at the gas station. She was being questioned by two men. She seemed to be explaining herself, pointing at the empty passenger seat in her car. They didn't really seem interested in her, though. They were more interested in the empty car seat. One man was wearing an orange vest.
Cómo ellos
He
lucían,
seemed to
madre
be in
mía.
charge. Another shorter guy next to him. Mean looking, like a shrew. A trap? So, they were looking for you?
Sí.
Sounds like getting in my dream. Getting in the trunk. May have saved your neck. No, I didn't get a look. I just heard one strange thing they said. That they were looking for a guy with 8 fingers. They were going to find him. Something like that. 8 fingers. 8 digits, maybe. Uh-huh. And you wouldn't happen to have a strange blue box with you?
No sé si es bueno contárselo a este. ¿Qué hacemos, chat? No sé si andas por ahí todavía, Animal. Creo que no. No sé, no me acabo de fiar de este tipo. ¿Qué hago? ¿Se lo digo? No se lo digo. No.
Well, if
Coño.
they were chasing you... Say, have you noticed how many tumbleweeds there are suddenly?
Sí.
I don't know, but the weather also seems to be turning suddenly.
Sí, se está
Turn on the
poniendo
radio
chungo.
and see if you can find a weather report. My
Hola.
God,
¡Ah!
get that thing off the window.
Hostia.
Get
¡Qué
it off.
chungo!
Get it off.
¡Qué chungo!
It seems to be changing the weather conditions.
Bus is clean
Suddenly,
and white among
it's
the other
sunny.
50 or so which are parked here.
Hala,
The city's
soleado.
main
It's not
terminal,
working.
which is more
They're
like an
stuck to
auto
the car.
graveyard.
We need some other kind of
20
weather to
metres
get
away
clear
is
of
an
them.
old reptilian.
I am educated.
Bus is clean.
Level 3 thunderstorm. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Damaging winds are causing some trees and large branches to fall. This could injure those outdoors, as well as damage homes and vehicles. Roadways may become blocked by downed trees. Power outages are possible. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Level 3 thunderstorm.
Hostia, qué mal rollo da.
60-mile-per-hour wind
Mierda
gusts
esta.
and quarter-size hail. Damaging winds are causing some trees and large branches to fall.
The bus is clean and white among the other 50 or so.
Level 3 thunder. Level 3 thunder.
Looks like tornado conditions now.
No, a ver. Si con eso se lleva estas mierdas.
The tornado. It's starting to pull the tumbleweeds off the car, but it's not strong enough.
Warning, tornado 40 feet from car. Tornado.
Ahí.
It worked.
Un poco... Es un poco de chiripa todo esto, ¿eh?
Look, that was very strange, even for this place. And the eyes on those things.
Sí, eso,
Seemed they
sobre
were
todo eso.
spying, searching for something. Did you notice? What do you know about these guys? The ones who are after you? Seems he had a few extra to spare for the tumbleweeds. I see. What else? Oh, let's see. Balkan tours? Not directly, no. But I've heard about them. From a guy in Istanbul I met. He had made it through to Europe, but then had come
cambia esto, ¿no? No.
had come back to get his family. But that's another story. He had come across this Balkan tours on his way back from Serbia. He warned everyone about them who would listen. Apparently, they had a charitable program to help refugees, promising to help them. But no one who accepted their help was ever seen from again. People just disappeared. And it wasn't just people in the refugee community either. Tourists too. There were strange stories.
Serbia, ahí.
Did she mention anything about this Balkan tours to you?
No.
Yes, I guess merely the fact that you ever saw her again suggests otherwise. Still, it seems like a connection. I only heard bits and pieces, nothing very clear. Mirrors, rooms full of mirrors. People losing their minds and never coming back. Yes, people who were heading from Turkey into Croatia and Serbia were being warned about it. Watch out for mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. Rooms full of ice. Well, my friend, I think right now the best thing you can do is run for safety. They probably have a good beat on your location, assuming the tumbleweeds were on their payroll. Make no mistake, these guys are dangerous. Well, we've all been in a dream. We've wanted to wake up from, but couldn't, right? Let's just say there are people who thrive on that fear and have ways of keeping you from waking up.
Vale. Siempre tranquilizador, no es desde luego.
Exactly. What did you do to these guys anyway? Why you? Right. Where did you get the box?
Si antes le he dicho que no la tenía y no le he vuelto a decir que sí que la tenga, ¿de dónde se saca este que sí que la tengo?
They must be worried about what's inside.
Poco me
Worried
mola.
it will expose them, all the things they've done, to her and to all the other people they've hurt.
O sea, que asumimos que a ella la han lastimado.
I wish I knew. Even
Maravilloso.
if I make it to my destination, I'm still not home. That's what it means to be an exile. My niece, Nadia, used to ask me that question all the time. Where are you going, uncle? She was the only young person who knew I was leaving.
Ese árbol parece
Imagine,
nuevo.
She knew when my father didn't. I was always mad at my sister for telling her. She would ask me that when I was putting her to bed. The only thing you can tell when a person that young asks you a question like that at bedtime. I told her the truth. Not the truth, but the truth wrapped in the blanket of a story.
Y se nos hizo de noche. La historia de Nadia. Vale.
There's a place where the river Tigris runs through Baghdad. A place called the Two-Story Bridge. When I was a kid, I would go fishing there and look out at the water and wonder where it all led. As a child, I was told that the farthest place on the earth from Baghdad is a place called Fiji. I would train my eyes on the horizon and imagine that all the water led there, to the point where the sky met the earth. To my child's mind, Fiji was the place where the sky touches the earth. These people of Fiji, they must be very tolerant people to live in such a place where one has to stoop over at all times and can never stand up straight. Eventually, they resolved to leave and find a new home, where the sky was farther from the earth, where the pandanus tree can grow high enough to be woven. So, they left this land right under the sky, leaving behind those people so old and bent that they no longer cared to stand up straight. The other Fijians gradually moved away from the edge of the world, and the sky got a little higher, and then they found a marvelous place. It was fertile and lush, with excellent weather, an orange tree for every backyard. But there was one problem: earthquakes. Terrible earthquakes, as frequent as rains during the springtime in this country. All because the sky was still close to the earth. When there's thunder, it echoes off the roof of the sky and causes the ground to break. But
Parece un ojete.
the Fijians adjusted. They built their entire civilization out of rubber. Rubber houses with rubber beds that would sway during the quakes, with rubber restraints that would hold the sleeping Fijians tight while they dreamed.
Tienes una imaginación flipante,
But
colega.
Nadia didn't want a bedtime story about that. She wanted a story about good and evil, the kind of story children like. So I changed it for her to be about a Fijian princess called Nadia, who finds the source of all the earthquakes.
Pensé que ya habéis dicho que era el turno, efectivamente.
Yes, but it's a child's bedtime story. You can change the details as you go along. So, Nadia finds a dragon hiding under the earth. A dragon with a splinter in its toe, whose terrible roaring causes the earth to break. Nadia slays the dragon and saves the people by uttering a magic spell. Konothi se auton.
Conócete a ti mismo.
Konothi se auton. It's actually Greek.
Yep.
Rolls right off the tongue, no? Okay, that was interesting. Can you say that again? All the mirror eyes closed. Seems like it. And look, that's not the spell's only power. The
Se me han salido
card.
las nubes.
There's a phone number on it now.
¿Dónde? Ah, joder, no lo he visto. 6274, pues este es el que nos faltaba.
Do you know what this means? I think you're ready to make a certain phone call. Ready to put your spell to use?
Sí,
Do you have a phone?
sí.
Even better. So, here's the plan. You call them and tell them you want to sign up for a tour.
Vale.
Here's the thing. If they act like they're taking you on a tour, everything is good.
Vale.
But if they've figured you out, they'll try to distract you while they kidnap you. Take it from me. They tell you someone you care about is in danger, but don't believe it. If everything's fine, then everything's fine. But if someone you know is in danger, it's a trap. Get out of there. Are you ready?
Vale, listo.
Dial the number.
Joder, pesadísimo esto, ¿eh? Ya puedo marcar el número, ahora ya sí.
Yeah. Yep, what can I help you with? That's a big park. You near the Argus gas station on Route 90? Alright, I'll pick you up in an hour. You don't have a car, do you? Just guess from your voice. So, see you in an hour. Don't worry about that. I'll be waiting for you once you land.
Vale, supongo es el quinto conductor. ¿Y ahora qué? Al Shatir.
So, it worked then? Isn't that how these things normally work in the stories of this country? Other characters shows up, imparts some hard-earned wisdom, then conveniently fades away. It's a few minutes before 3:30 in Istanbul. There's another raft waiting.
Uy, hay una carta.
Try. Thanks. To you too. I think you'll be fine.
Sí,
We
bueno.
have allies all along this road, even in the cars of enemies. I've left something for you.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while.
Supongo ser una carta de Keira. Bueno, Jack Pingham.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while. It took me all morning just to figure out where to buy stamps here. So, I'm sending you something from my trip, like I promised. Last week, I was at yet another barbecue. People here really enjoy their pork chops, let me tell you. There was this old-timer there, the host's father. He was talking about inflation during the war years.
Hostia, que llegamos al
He ran
nacimiento
upstairs to get
de Jesús.
something he was excited to show me. He comes back down with a 50 billion dinar bill. He starts talking about at the time they
Pensé que era una
printed it,
persona aquí sentada.
inflation was so bad that in the morning it could buy one sandwich. By lunchtime, it could buy half a sandwich.
Hostia, vaya caída.
It's a beautiful piece of printing, don't you think? All these O's lined up next to each other. Anyway, keep it tucked away for safekeeping. The big piece of news on my end is that yesterday, I finally tackled my fear of heights.
Pensaba que era hielo, pero no,
Humble
son tierra.
correspondent from the Balkans went hang gliding. Yes, me. Hard to believe, I know. I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met talked me into it, facing my fears and all that.
Uy,
But then
sí.
the tour guide takes me to the hill where they do the hang gliding, and they're talking about the most crazy thing that happened the week before. You're not going to believe this. It's a tandem dive, so they have you strapped in with an instructor, right? Well, last week they strapped someone in, but the instructor forgot to strap himself in securely. They go running off the cliff, and the instructor tumbles down the hill. The instructor was okay, just some bruises. But now the other person is stuck up in the air with no idea how to fly the thing. Everyone on the ground is
Madre.
freaking out, yelling instructions up in the air about what to do. The girl said later that once she got over the initial terror, it was like she'd been flying a hang glider all her life. It must have been exhilarating, conquering that first wave of fear. And once you're up there, it is amazing. The best thing is that you look down and there are these tiny white cotton ball things on the ground, and then you realize they're sheep. It's not so hard to steer either once you get the hang of it.
Ah, buenas.
Today, when I was looking for
Hemos acabado el
stamps,
capítulo 4 ya,
I
Arima.
bought one of those inspirational refrigerator magnets in a tourist shop. It says, "Do one thing every day that scares you." I know you think this kind of thing is cheesy, but I actually think it's profound.
Vale. Tiene habilidad that scares you. Vale.
I hope
Quita.
we can do stuff like this on our road trip together. Can we? Sometimes I
sí.
hate how we live in Seattle, just sitting around in our own heads all the time. I feel like it's the reason we've been arguing more lately.
Se supone que hemos acabado la parte 4 y hemos llamado a Balkan Tours porque hemos conseguido el teléfono, no me acuerdo muy bien cómo. Y nos están preparando un tour.
If you don't shake the fear out of your system on a regular basis, it curdles up into anger. I don't
Que
want
se
to
supone que es lo que
be-
hizo nuestra novia, que le contaron esta historia de una chica que se queda sola en un ala delta y sin el instructor y... Ahí.
Well, time for your idealistic correspondent to
Y estamos
sign up.
recogiendo recuerdos.
I'm so used to writing emails that it hurts my hand to write a real letter now. How sad is that?
¿Se nos
But
ha pasado
I
algo?
promise to write more often.
Ahí hay algo.
And what about you? I don't expect a real letter, but an email would be great. How is everything going? How did it go with that California assignment? The thing about the grape farmers? That was this week, right?
Que es donde conocimos a Vern, que es el primer conductor.
I feel a little nervous about coming back
No
home.
veo nada
to
más
you,
que blanco, ahora
but
mismo.
a little nervousness is nothing to worry about. That's what I've learned here. Fear is the mind killer. Love you.
Se supone que es una carta que nos ha mandado la novia que hemos encontrado debajo del culo de
Jeez, there you are.
el conductor este al-Shatir que nos ha llevado en el cuarto capítulo.
Nice of you to grace us with your presence. I've been looking all over for you. You were supposed to be waiting by the post office, remember? Look, we've all got a lot on our minds since the accident. I don't have time to drive all over Mankato looking for you. Barely gotten any sleep since it happened. The tour, visiting hours are until 7, so yes, you'll get a chance to see her.
¿Y quién coño es Craig?
She's in the ICU being evaluated for something called sub-fucking-arachnoid hemorrhage. So, yeah, she's great, dude.
Vale, o sea que
Never been better.
deduzco que ella se fue a los Balcanes mientras nosotros íbamos...
What? Hang on. Shut up. This isn't just any kind of phone call.
Pero ¿puedes conducir mientras llevas eso puesto?
Yes. No. I know.
Carta de Eric. Hey Jack, having a great road trip would be a little easier if my boyfriend could drive. Jaja. Ah, Keira. Esta es la carta que manda Keira a Jack Pinham, que es el que está conduciendo ahora. Y la habíamos visto también en el primer capítulo. Esta la llevaba también el Verme no sé si aquí arriba. Sí, creo que aquí arriba también.
No, he turned up eventually. Yeah, he's sitting right here.
Hola.
Do you want to talk to him? Should I put him on live with you? No, I didn't think so.
Pero tío, que no puede ser legal conducir con esa mierda puesta.
Okay, I'll wait then. What? It's called a headset. It's a good way to not wreck your car while you're using a phone.
Sí, es una manera cojunuda. Todo lo que te tape los ojos.
At this point.
Es una manera de puta madre
Look,
de conducir.
it was an accident, I know. Sorry. But you just don't pull a phone out of someone's hand while they're behind the wheel. You should have known better.
O sea que le quitó el volante, le quitó el North Mankato. Le quitó el teléfono a alguien.
Reporting to you from Mankato. For those of you heading south on I-169 on your commute, Copernicus. Expect some delays around
What?
Route 4 junction. Don't say anything. He can't hear me. Only you can. Listen, don't say a word.
Vale.
Do you have that locked box? If you do, roll down the window as a sign.
Hey, do you mind? I'm trying to listen to this.
It's okay. You can close it now. No point in making him angry over nothing. Okay, good. You can't let these guys get a hold of that box.
Sí, eso lo tenía más o menos
He
claro.
may even have the key on him, this guy. They're taking you to her, but you have to be careful. You need to figure out how much they know.
To the hospital. Is this funny to you? Because it's not to me. Do you really want to go there? You really want to talk about this? Now? Of all moments? Fine. Listen, I know that she wasn't honest with you, that she couldn't bring herself to be straightforward about her feelings. I know it hurts you, man, but you two'd been growing apart for a while. In the end, she just wanted to be with someone more dedicated. That's the direction she was growing in. It didn't happen overnight, but the trip to Europe and meeting Craig, yeah, that was a big part of it.
Craig será el que...
Fine, whatever. Yes, we're all working against you. Are you satisfied now? Because this is hardly the time to bring your hurt feelings out onto the stage.
No sé en qué momento nos han contado quién era Craig. O sea, creo que no nos lo han dicho nadie. Pero supongo que es el de los 100 ojos ese.
Nobody doubts that, man.
O 10 ojos.
But at some point, if people keep screwing you over, keep betraying you, at a certain point, if everywhere you go, people keep being assholes to you, well, guess what? Maybe you're the asshole. The radio? Sure, go ahead.
Copernicus, there's no time to lose. You have to act quickly now, before he puts that helmet on again.
Vale, ¿qué hago?
Use this bell. Stop him.
What? Yeah, know thyself. That's what I'm talking about.
Esto es un hechizo que nos ha enseñado el anterior.
Ganathi Seaton, Greek for know thyself. That's a good start. I know you've had a rough 24 hours, but we all have. I mean, she's my sister after all.
He's lying.
Hang on again, I gotta get...
Mierda.
Yeah, I'm here. We'll be there in just a few minutes. Yeah, he tried it just like we expected. No, I'm fine. Yeah, I agree. It's time to call his bluff.
Step on the brake. Stop him. Do it. Step on the brake.
Ah, what are you doing? Let go.
Esto es un poco loco. Hola. ¡Oh, la llave de la caja! No es quitar llave, es usar llave. Madre mía, está traducido como el puto culo. Bueno. Otro puzzle. 4, 3, 2, 1. Entiendo que el primero que hay que quitar es este. Recuerda lo que ocurrió. Encuentro una imagen... Mierda.
I'm going away for 2 months. I'll be back before you know it. Here's a security deposit. Here's a security deposit.
Es el security deposit. Supongo que es el sobre.
I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met talked me into it.
Esto es sobre el ala delta.
So I'm sending you something from my trip, like I promised.
¿Y qué me envió? Una carta. Vale, entonces aquí no es la carta.
Here's a security deposit.
Aquí tienes una garantía.
Here's a security deposit.
You two came by my house, yes? See,
Estos llegaron a mi casa, si ves,
that's my
ese es
silo.
mi
You're
silo.
in the background.
Vale, el silo.
That was some argument.
Una buena discusión. Eso fue en la cafetería.
She thinks you've caused some kind of accident.
El accidente de coche.
Visiting hours are until 7.
El
So
hospital.
yes, you get a chance to see her.
Vale, y aquí lo único que nos queda es...
Here's a security deposit.
la caja.
It's great, right? I'll send you something special from Europe to put inside. It's a beautiful piece of printing, don't you think? All these O's lined up next to each other.
Vale.
The argument back at the diner.
Me he enterado.
Maybe there was something missing for her.
Me he enterado de que iba
Find
la
a
vaina.
man with many eyes. They're the ones who did this to me. He has 10 eyes. He wears them around his wrist,
Aquí
like
solo
a
hay 8.
bracelet.
Vale, hemos abierto la caja y queda aquí dentro. Una cinta. Y un billete de Yugoslavia. Oh, los 10 dígitos. Oye, ¿el conductor dónde coño está?
Help me! Save me from this man!
¿Qué coño? Security, sí. Supongo security box, safe box.
Help me! Save me from this man!
Oh, please, I think you flew into the bottle on purpose. What are you, the public defender to all things living?
Fireflies can't talk. Someone
Estas son
has
las
to speak
luciérnagas
up
del
for
segundo
him.
acto.
If the 6 tiny mittens don't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, I'll set it free in a minute. I just think this light is incredible.
Let's keep him as our pet.
Now is being cruel. I think I'll always remember this.
This is one of those nights, right?
One of what nights?
We'll always have this. If you ever get to a point where you feel like you've lost me, all you have to do is find your way back to here and sit down beside me.
Esto tiene que ver con lo que nos han contado de los recuerdos en el segundo episodio.
Write a note to your future self and put it in this bottle. If there's ever a point where things have gotten totally screwed up between us, that moment isn't real. This one is. All you have to do is find your way back to me.
What if I can't find the way?
That's why I've made you this beacon. A bottle with a green light to show you the way. Sense of direction isn't exactly your strong suit, Copernicus. Let's make a pact. With this honorable Firefly as witness. I promise my screwed up future self won't mess this up for us.
I don't know. My future self can be a real jerk.
Mine too. We're going to make mistakes. Hurt each other. Everyone does it. So, time traveler, what news? What wisdom do you bring from the future?
That it's never too late. That any mistake can be fixed.
Good, if that's what you believe.
Vale. Mucho ritmo no tiene el juego. ¿Para qué nos vamos a engañar? Ni mucho que hacer tampoco. O sea, creo que han sido 3 puzzles y ya. ¿Es esto de la explicación? Hombre, no me jodas, Madame Pandas. No me jodas. En fin. Hitchhiker. Resumen. Han sido como unas 2 horas y media de juego. Estéticamente está muy chulo, la historia es interesante, no sé si tanto como entretenida, pero interesante es. Te va llevando por unas cosas que parecen más profundas de lo que luego son. Lo que pasa es que es muy extremadamente lineal. O sea, apenas tienes 3 o 4 decisiones en las que puede variar un poco. Y yo creo que si eliges la que no es, entras en un bucle hasta que eliges la buena. Em, no sé, o sea, a poco que hayas estado atento a la historia, el último puzzle es fácil. Quizá lo más complicado ha sido en el capítulo 4 el tema de la radio, porque no te da ninguna pista de qué es lo que necesitas para librarte de las bolas esas con ojos. Eso ha sido un rato que no estabas animal. 4 de 10 por las escenas de la carretera. Sí, los paisajes están chulos y la verdad es que el primer capítulo como que prometía más, ¿no? Te daban mucha información que no encajaba y parecía que ibas a poder ahí en algún momento montar la historia, pero la verdad es que al final es una historia bastante vacía. Entiendo que lo que ha pasado es que esta mujer se fue ese verano a Europa porque hubo un distanciamiento en la pareja, tuvo un accidente con el ala delta y probablemente moriría después. Y lo que este está haciendo es un poco ahí, pues, digamos, perdonarse a sí mismo recordando los buenos momentos que tuvo con ella en lugar de recordar los últimos malos. No lo sé, no lo sé. La verdad es que sí, un poco flojete. Ya digo, yo lo vi en el directo de... ya digo, no sé si era Rosgamer o Vicio, creo que Rosgamer lo jugó entero para YouTube. Y me pareció los primeros minutos, pues eso, proponían muchas cosas, pero sí que es verdad que al final algún jueguecillo así como en la cafetería cuando aparecen los duplicados de ir clicando, pero muy poca cosa. O sea, son 5 capítulos y en cada capítulo hay aproximadamente un juego de habilidad. He visto que están basadas las historias en historias personales de distintas personas reales, pero no sé, no sé si me acaba de convencer el tema, la verdad. mm, un poco extraño. Un poco extraño. Em, pues nada, hasta aquí ha llegado Hitchhiker. Voy a intentar buscar algo más animado, porque entre el Hearts of Iron 2 que no me sale. El otro día, ¿cuál fue? Mini Motorways, que es muy relajado, aunque sea entretenido. Y este, que no tenía ni chicha ni limonada. La verdad es que los juegos que estoy eligiendo, no te voy a decir que me aburran a mí, pero son lentos. Así que vamos, no sé, igual si al final este fin de semana no me sale el plan, pues igual monto un partidillo de coche gol de estos o alguna cosa así, o no sé. No sé. Algo habrá que inventar porque desde luego hay que darle un poco más de animación a estas cosas, sobre todo a estas horas de la noche. Bueno, muchas gracias a todos por estar ahí. Bueno, a Animal y a Jos, que no sé si sigue o se ha ido o cuando ha vuelto. Casi me echo por encima todo. Y nada más. Pasadlo muy bien. Y volveremos. Igual vuelvo en un ratillo. Estoy pensando que es pronto, ¿no? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Voy a ver qué hora es. Las 11. Voy a hacer 10 minutos de descanso. Voy a buscar otro juego que tenga ganas de jugar y lo voy a jugar en 10 minutos. Voy a hacer directo. ¿Vale? En 10 minutos reabro directo. Venga, voy a hacer una raid. Aprovechando que te toca aquí Animal. Porque hay que hacer raid con 0 personas, pues tampoco me parece. Entonces voy a hacer una raid. Venga, vendo bicicleta, por ejemplo, que está jugando al Fasmo. ¿Vale? Que le hiciste tu raid ayer. Venga. Chao, chao. Mm.